Hello, everybody. Good to have you with us this afternoon. Thanks for taking time to join the class and your classmates here to share some experiences about
Hey,
business.
Steve, can you hear me? I
Sure, I hear you
I
well.
can't hear anything. I'm gonna sign out and sign back in because I can't hear you talking.
Well, we hear you quite well. You're doing well. So let me welcome everyone back, and we'll go from there. I'm gonna start the recording again. Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for joining us for a class about how to build a business that thrives without you. This is related mainly to helping folks plan to have a smooth succession when you're ready to sell your business or do an exit or have some type of transition in it. It's a real challenging time in business. And the key factor is the things that help you the most is to make sure that your business is in a good position, good shape when you're ready to move forward with it. So we're glad to have everyone on board. Thanks for joining us. You're always welcome to help. We are sponsored tonight by the Small Business Center at Lenore Community College in Kinston, North Carolina. The director, Lee Albritton, is a wonderful director and looks forward to assisting you any way that he can. He's just very willing and able and has lots of resources to help you move your business forward. His office is at the Lenore County Small Business Center at the Aerospace and Advanced Manufacturing Center near Highway 58 in Kinston, and he also maintains an office downtown. So he's not hard to find and certainly willing and able and ready to help you any way he can. My name is Steve Carver. I'm in Dunn, North Carolina. It's my presentation, number 1268, and I'm just so thankful that you're with us tonight and joining me on my continuing journey in entrepreneurship, and let me join you as well. I am not a lawyer or a CPA. I'm just a fellow that's been in business for 68 years and counting, and done a lot of things, had about 12 businesses and over 2,000 employees through the years. Made a lot of mistakes, did a lot of things right, never wrote a bad check, never lost a company. I've sold several. I've helped thousands of people start their businesses, and I'm very happy to know that and to have created all those relationships through the years. It's been my pleasure to work with folks just like you in classes for 19 years. So we got a lot of contacts, a lot of experience, and a lot of mutual help on us, and look forward to working with you. The main advice I'd like to give to you is get a second and even a third opinion before you make a serious decision related to your business. There's a lot of help out here for you, and take advantage of it and be the wiser for it. This is the second of a 5-part series, and certainly glad to have you with us. You can earn achievement certificates and completion achievements by attending at least 4 of the classes. And if this is your first class, but you were on board last night on our Monday night class, I'll give you credit for last week as well, so that you can use this as a full academy experience and attend the next 4 classes, and I'll give you credit for 5 classes. Otherwise, if you attend all 5 classes, you can qualify as a graduate of the Academy and have a membership in the Academy of Entrepreneurs and Associates. To do that now, you'll need to complete the rest of the classes, pre-register for the rest of the classes, send in your list of 5 marketable profit centers, and share your mission, vision, and promise statements to qualify for those certificates and membership. This is an advanced course, which means that we go deeper into subject matter than in our core topics classes like we are doing on Monday night now. So you'll find these will be a little bit more challenging and quite interesting for those folks that are really planning on starting your business and staying in business for a while. Having watched all the folks for my 60 plus years in business and having sold businesses myself through the years, I can tell you that selling or exiting a business is not an easy thing to do. And if you really hope to have a successful, profitable, rewarding experience going out of business, it means you're going to need to do some planning. We see all the time where someone gets sick or passes away and the families have to deal with the business liquidating or whatever, and it's not a happy or a peaceful time. However, when you are ready to retire, whether it be because you're just reached that age or that position in life you need to move forward, or possibly there's an illness that's coming on board, or a family matter that's kind of forcing you to retire. If you've done some planning, if you've got some things in the right position, it can be a very rewarding experience. So the directors of the Small Business Center, several of them asked me to put this program together to give you some insight as you're starting your business, or if you have been in business for a while but haven't given a lot of thought to how do I get out of business when it's time. That's what this program is all about. So these classes are all about giving you the insight into the many, many steps and opportunities when it comes time to sell or transfer your business. Let's look at it in a very positive way and have a good time as we talk about it tonight. Study guides have been sent to you to help you learn more about these subjects. I think we've sent 4 of them to you by email if you haven't gotten them yet. And if I have your email address, I'll send them to you tomorrow along with a video recording of this class so you can watch it, stop it, take screenshots, make notes and such as that. Now, we could have set this up to have made this presentation be directed for large businesses, multi-million-dollar concerns, international type businesses, but this is all about, my presentation tonight has been put together to be tailored mainly to you, the founders of your own business that you're just getting started, family businesses and service providers, folks that are working every day themselves in the business, and you'll have unique emotional and operational hurdles to go through with these small businesses. I know that because I've been there, I've done that, I've experienced them with pretty much everything we're going to talk about tonight. So I'm going to try to move this program to help you personally, and I want you to think about it. And if you see things that ring a bell with you or concerns you with the future that you see that may be ahead of you with you and your business and where you want to go, and you want for me to spend some extra time in talking about that in future classes, just drop me an email and tell me what's on your mind, and I'll certainly try to do that. After last night's class, I had several folks that sent me emails, and I've been able to respond to them and hopefully give you good information to move forward. And that's so good. And Cynthia, let me say to you, give you a big wave. Yes, thank you very much. I appreciate your having your video on it. It's really gratifying to be able to see somebody as you're teaching. So thank you very much, and I appreciate that. And the rest of you are welcome to do your videos as well, and I get to see and meet each other as we go along. So thanks a lot, Cynthia. So here we go. Let's get right into it if we can. We talk about going in and out of business and transitioning, and with all the different subjects that are involved, it always gets back to, well, what's the value? What is the money going to end up with? What am I going to get? What am I going to lose? What's important to the buyer? What's important to the seller? So I put together this graphic because it's all going to come down to what is the value of the business that you're transitioning into or out of, and what helps create that value. There's a lot of factors. It's just not your book value on the books. When a buyer is looking at your business, there's a lot of factors. So if we're looking at it with our day-to-day activities, as normal situations, as the graphic here shows over on the left, and what are the things that are involved as we do this? Well, it's our personal relationships and daily operations. That's what we're doing every day. What's our job about? What's our business about? So what brings value to the business? Was your relationships? Is your knowledge, how well you know what you're doing, how well your operations are managed, and what decision-making processes do you go through? Are you connecting the dots in a circle that makes sense to keep the business rolling? And then the way that you're doing business, the systems and the planning that you use, how do you handle your documents, your work in progress and your metrics? Are you doing all this alone, or is there a management team that helps you? And what is your growth potential? So what you're doing every day, and then what is your outlook for the future on these other factors, end up with what is the future value of your business going to be look like, and then how much of that value will be transferable to a new owner. That's the bottom line. How much of the value can be transferable to the new owner? So I'll talk about that tonight with some real straight talk about that. So what's the reoccurring money that's going to be coming into the business? How efficient are the operations? Are they up to date? Are you online? Are you into AI? Are you making the right moves with innovations? What's your position in the marketplace? Are you the bottom player? Are you the bottom of the run, or are you a big kahuna in the market that's doing real well? And how's just things moving along? Are you maturing right, or is the business in a growth pattern, or is it seen to be decreasing in business? So these are the factors that the buyers will be considering. These are the factors that will be attractive or not attractive to whoever it is you want to transition your business to. So now the reality check. And the bad news is that 80% of the businesses that people would like to sell are never sold. 80%. And I know this to be true because I've experienced helping people who were trying to sell their businesses for whatever reason, and it just didn't work out. I've experienced selling some of my businesses where it went real smooth, real quick, good money, didn't take a lot of negotiating to get the right figures. And then on the other hand, for other reasons, it was a real slow process and had to start and restart time and time again. So what is the reasons that things don't work out when you decide that you want to sell your business? Well, just as the graphic shows, maybe your document processing is not good. Maybe you're losing customers instead of gaining customers. Maybe your length of term for employment for your employees is really short. For some reason, you can't hold on to associates, and you're not showing growth. Therefore, when you get over to the right side of the graphic, the buyers say, hey, you're a great fellow, you're a great lady, and I'm glad you've had a good business through the years, but I don't think I want to get involved in that. And therefore, there's a lot of disappointment that goes around. So we want to avoid these, and I want to help you, give you some ideas on how to go about doing that. So we're going to do this in 5 different sections. So the first section is we need to have a reality check and think about the urgency of getting involved in preparing your business, building your business, so basically it can thrive without you. Now, you got to have an open mind here. I'm not putting anybody down in myself. I'm just facing reality. If you're wanting to sell your business or transition out of it, the people that's going to look at it want to see, well, can I buy this business and keep it running even though the original owner or the founder is not here? That's the big question that's going to be asked, and therefore I'm going to call that the owner trap. The owner trap, and I want you to share with me in a very positive light, as if your business has been in business for, let's say, 15, 20 years. You've got a substantial business. It's running well. You're still in there every day working your tail off, as you've always done. It's doing well. It's not getting ready to fall apart. And let's say that you've added on some employees. So dream with me. Put yourself in the position as we go into these questions to do that. So I'm going to ask you, each one of you, 5 questions. Go ahead and get you a piece of paper and a pencil, because you don't score yourself. You don't give yourself some scores, and you don't need to come up with the final score at the end of this session. So everybody ready? Go ahead and find you something to write on. So let me know. Give me a yes over in the chat board if you're ready. So I'll get started with these because we'll move forward together. Grab a pen and tell me you're going to get ready. Let me see some yeses over on the chat board so I know at least some of you are ready to answer these questions. There you go, Brian. Thank you. Come on now, everybody else, get on board with me. Sarita's ready. Okay. So get ready with your pencils and paper, and we'll ask you 5 questions. Now, to answer these questions, you will give yourself a score from 1 to 5, okay? 1 to 5. And on these, if a 1 means, oh man, this is just a disaster, and everybody in this business relies on me 100%. I mean, I'm the only one here. It's all about me. But if you give yourself a 5, that means that my business is up and running. I don't have to be here to do everything. Everything was going to run smooth. So that's the way the scoring is going to work. If you haven't started your business now, then just put yourself in the mindset as if you have, and just imagine the situation that you would be in later on so you can participate here. And this will all come together for you in a minute. So question number one, we'll call it the client handshake. If your top 3 customers threaten to leave you tomorrow unless you personally handle their account, so your best 3 customers say to you, if you don't handle my account personally, I'm out of here. What would your score be? A 1 means that you are doing all the high-level management already. You just do it all. 5 would mean they don't even know your last name. They're just a good customer that's dealing with the other people in your organization or business is handled on its own, and you don't have to be involved in each thing. So what is your answer here? 1 through 5. Go ahead and write it down. Question number 1, 1 or a 5. Question number 2, I call it the password gate. If you suddenly vanish for 48 hours from your business, would your team be locked out of your banking, your software, critical client files because you know all the passwords in the software and you got all the keys to the filing cabinets? Is anyone else there that can get the business done and help your clients over a 48-hour period? So is the answer a 1, which means you got it all, you got everything locked down, you're top security? Or is it a 5? You got safeguards to let other people help your customers if you're gone for 48 hours. 1 through 5, where do you stack up in that? Give yourself a score. 1, 2, 3, or 4, or 5. So I'll tell you right now, old Steve-O would be scoring real low in my last 5 years in business on this stuff right here, because I was a one-man show. I didn't have hardly any help at all. So I know how it feels to give myself a low score, because I did this last night. I didn't do too well. But you know what? Years ago, when the first time I sold my largest business, I'd scored real high on all these numbers, and it really helped me sell my business. Number 3, the pricing bottleneck. Can your sales team quote and price, sign a contract, do on-board business with your customers without you being involved? Do you have people that can work with your customers now so that you don't have to be there to do the deals? Give yourself a 1 if you have to approve everything, or 2, 3, 4, or 5 means if you give yourself a 5, other people can handle everything, and it works out real good. What's your score? 1 through 5. That's question number 3. Question number 4, a crisis siren. Think about your last 30 days in business. How many times did an employee text or call you or email you with a problem? And your answer was, oh, don't worry, just let me handle it. I'll take care of it. You don't need to worry about it. I'll take care of everything. So if that's the case, number 1, you give yourself a 1 if you are the chief problem solver. Let me pat you on the back for being the chief problem solver, okay? Not. But 2, 3, 4, and 5 means that if you give yourself a 5, then they didn't have to call you to begin with. They basically know where to find the answers and have the authority to move forward. So what's your score on question number 4? How y'all coming along? All right, let's go to number 5, the daily pulse. If I deleted your email box and turned off your telephone right now, would your operational team know exactly what their performance indicators or key performance indicators are for the week without you telling them? Or in other words, if you couldn't communicate with anyone else, would the people that are serving your customers be self-motivated and have a structured plan about how to keep the business rolling if you weren't there to give them daily operations? So if it just be total confusion, we get a 1. But 2, 3, 4, and 5 means the better organized you are and the better self-motivation you've got built into your business would be a 5. Give yourself a score now and be honest with yourself. Okay? So now let's see. It's time to add them up. Go ahead and add up your numbers, and the maximum score would be 25. The maximum score is 25. That would mean basically your business can run without you and do really well. So where are you going to stack that up? So score yourself. If you scored 5 through 12, then you don't really own a business. You're working at an incredibly demanding job with a very unforgiving boss. And you know who that boss is? It's you. It's you. Yeah, we really don't have a business. We just own a job for ourselves, right? Now, let me tell you, I know how that feels because I've lived this life for 60-some years. And oftentimes I would say, do I own the business or does the business own me? So that always is coming up. And when it comes to transitioning, that's going to be a big factor. But if you earned a score of 13 through 20, you have a functional company. But the growth is hitting a hard ceiling. That means there's plenty of room for improvement here, but there's one kind of big problem here, even though there's room for improvement, and that is that there's a bottleneck. And you know who the bottleneck is? Yeah, it's me and you. No doubt. We've got a little problem here, and it's ourselves. No doubt about it. And when we recognize that and we learn to know this when we're looking to the future, it's a big deal. If your score was 21, congratulations. You actually have got something to sell. A buyer will be looking forward to talking to you. People will want to transition into your business. You'll be able to hire better employees who are looking for a long-term security situation. So it's worth the effort to understand how can we get our business to a point that buyers will want to be a part of it. So how about that? So what was your score? So over in chat, the truth has set us free. What is the number? What was your total number? Let me see. Be honest with yourself and us. I'll tell you that when I did this, my total number was about an 8. It was about an 8 as far as where I stand right now. There have been some times that it would have been as high as 18 in years past, and I was able to sell some businesses when it was 18 a whole lot easier. But right now, I'm not in the mood. I'm at my age, not ready to sell my business. However, I'm doing some things to position it where I work. Hey, look at there, Mary. Congratulations. There's a 13. And Shannon, I understand that 5. Brian, congratulations to you. That's fantastic. So we all want to get to 25, right? So let's move forward in this study, and I'm going to show you some ways to help you get there. There's a paradox of ownership, and that is if your business completely stops when you take a vacation, then you don't own a business, you own a job. And most owners build their businesses around your personal genius. Our business operates on how we operate. But a true business value is created when the company is entirely independent of the founder's daily presence. That's our goal. is to have our company operating smoothly and thriving without our daily presence. And you can do that. I promise you can do that. I was able to do that for pretty much about approximately 25 years because I surrounded myself with great managers and delegated in such a way that we can move forward. Is there an urgency about doing this planning? Maybe you're in perfect health. Maybe you're real young and you see 60 years ahead of you and you're bulletproof, and by golly, I don't need to worry about all this stuff with Steve-O. But I'll tell you, you do, because a lot of good people aren't going to be here tomorrow or the next day, and one of them might be me or you. The best time to give this item of serious consideration is certainly well before the time that you need to exit. So that's just old Papa Steve giving you some friendly family advice there. Section 2, identifying what is your specific reality. And looking at first-time founders, which I would think that most of us are, the identity and the scale problem, that is the scale of our business, how large is it? We build businesses from scratch, and they're our baby. I know what that is. I've had 6 or 7 businesses through the years, and by golly, they were my babies. I treated them gently and very carefully, and they were mine. They had my name on them, my legacy, and that's important. We talk about the legacy. But our problem is when it's time to transition, we need to move our position from the operator of the business, like most of us are right now, the operator of the business, to an asset builder. That's what I'm going to encourage you to think about tonight, is consider yourself not just the operator of your business, but the builder of an asset, making that business look really good to a potential buyer. I don't want you to think that I'm encouraging you in any way to quit, because that's not it. But the ultimate validation of your startup success is, are you able to sell it one day? So there's a fact. Know this to be a fact. It's not debatable. Venture capitalists, people that are buying your business, sophisticated buyers, they don't want to buy companies where the founder is the product. They don't want to buy a business where it's all about you, because you're going to be gone. So what's going to be left in the business? They want to buy a business of good size with good factors that has notable performance and profit centers that they can put their finger on, whether you're there or not. That's it. After I changed my bricks and mortar dealerships over to a .com company, I just operating on the internet, I was the operator. I operated the business. I did everything. I had some virtual assistants that helped me with a lot of stuff, and a lot of great vendors, and a lot of great people that helped me get things done. But as far as employees, the daily do the actual work, it was old Steve-O. So when I got ready to sell that business and ready for it, it took me years and years and years to find someone that was willing to say, okay, I want to do what you're doing, Steve, and I'm young enough to make it last. Well, those are the first people I'm going to send a copy of this lesson to, because I want them someday to not end up like I did, having to settle for a lot less money for the value of the business, because you couldn't find someone willing to work as hard as you're doing, or that wanted to work as hard as you're doing. So that's what we need to do. So it's not that I want you to quit. It is I want you to figure out ways to expand and to delegate. So family business owners, as probably a lot of us are, and I've been that. There's some real issues here that we need to talk about that I want you to be aware of. Business decisions are tied to family dynamics and holiday dinners and multi-generational pressures if you're in a family business where everybody's involved in the family. It's a real rewarding, but it can be an awfully tough and argumentative situation. So there needs to be a formal structured plan that protects family harmony and preserves the founder's legacy. if you're able to succeed in passing on the family business. And lots of times it just doesn't happen. I'll tell you right now that be ready for a lot of friction when passing a business who may not want or may not be ready to take over the business to a child. Navigating and managing these issues will be very tough, and you'll probably need some counseling, outside counseling, some help to get through some tough situations. So I'm saying to you this with all the compassion I can say. I want family businesses to go forward. They're great when they work, and we celebrate that. And I want to tell you that with my 7 children, none of them wanted to be a part of my business. They didn't want to work as hard as I did, and I didn't force them to stay into it. I loved the business. When I was working with my dad, when I was growing up at 12 years old and all, I loved the business. I just knew right away I wanted to do it for the rest of my life, and here I am still with the same job that I started at. But listen, starting a business so that you can give it to a family member someday may be a big, big mistake. So they got to want it and be willing to work for it and earn that. So just know that is a major factor. Another factor we need to be aware of is that when you bring in a broker or an agency, consultant, accountant, or a contractor, when you doing the selling, or if the buyer has someone doing this work for them, it oftentimes really complicates the issues, and it makes it incredibly difficult to sell. So when you're moving in that situation, consider these situations very, very carefully, because it can just upset the sale or the transition of your business. Now, here I've just said, and here's a paradox, I've just said the brokers and the counselors can really complicate things. But I also want to tell you right behind that, sometimes, most of the time, it's better to have a third party that's assisting you, either buying or selling or both, to work through the details. But they need to be people that you understand, that you give them a certain amount of power and a certain amount of leeway, but their job is to create parties coming together. And their job is to help you end up with the very most money you can for your business if you're selling. And from the buyer side, it would be easy for me to say you're hiring someone to help you buy this company for as cheap as you can possibly get it and take advantage of the seller. No. And that's the way a lot of buyers come into a deal, and you need to weed those out. The consultant for the buyer should have the attitude, I'm after a win-win proposition for both sides to leave everybody happy and to keep the business in good shape and moving forward. That's the goal that we're after. So be careful as we're talking to brokers and consultants. I do that work for people, and I know how important it is to have the right attitude. Section 3 has to do with getting the right mindset. Shifting your mindset. So let's think about that. My personal experience is that this will probably be the very most important part of our lesson tonight. And more than that, that right mindset is a key factor in helping you move your business up to the next level. It's not that hard to get a business started. It's quite difficult to keep it running. And to keep it running means you bring it up to a level of income versus expenses and profitability and requirements of you as the owner. We can get that done with a lot of hard work and endurance. But once we get it to that level as an operating small business, it's kind of difficult to move it to the next level, where you're able to hire employees, where you're able to delegate, where you're able to reach out with lots more profit centers and grow the business maybe from a $50,000 business to a $300,000 business. That's going to the next level. And then if you're at $300,000, how can I get it up to $600,000? That's taking it to a new level, and then to $700,000, and then to $1 million. That $1 million mark even though $1 million is a whole lot less money today than it was 50 years ago, it's still a big, big challenge to get a small business up to $1 million in sales. Each one of those is different levels, and moving to those next levels require mainly you, the founder of the business, to have the mindset to take the business to the next level and to be willing to do that. So what gets in the way and what can help that doing? So I want to talk about issues that have affected me and so many more of my friends and colleagues through the years that I've met all these years, and that is we as founders kind of take on a role, a mindset that we are the provider. We have the greatest ego. We are something really special, and by golly, people need to respect us when they're doing that because the clients are calling us for our expertise. Well, when you look at it that way, that's all about ego. I want you to have that confidence. I want you to know that you can get the job done and you can do it and prove it time after time again. But I also want you to know that ego is a big, big factor in keeping you from getting to that next level because you want to hold on to that power and that decision making. I know it feels great to be smart and to know the answers. When y'all ask me a question and I can come back with what I know is a good answer because I've done it for so many years, it makes me feel good, no doubt. But I don't ever want it to get to the point that it makes me feel so good I think I know it all, because I don't. Things are changing. So every time we personally solve a crisis with a client, we are in reality lowering the value of our company if we had an option to let somebody else do it. Isn't that crazy? So we need to build our company. We need to build our situation as we grow and have lots more clients, lots more customers to bring people in and delegate them with the knowledge, give them the knowledge and the training and delegate them the power to start solving problems for customers. Once you do that, guess what? That's going to free you up to go get new customers. Yeah, that's going to free you up to do a better job marketing. As more customers come in, you're able to hire more people to help those customers and look after them. And that doesn't mean you need to have a whole team of 50 or 60 people, because you can have a sales team of 2 or 3 people and keep them very busy with a fairly small internet active type business. You know that. If you're running a small restaurant or a grill or even a food truck, you already know that you can't do it by yourself. You have to have people to serve your customers. And every time you can add ways to better serve your clients without you having to do it yourself, your business is worth more money to a buyer because you don't have to do it all and they won't have to do it all. That's what we're after in here. So let me give you just a little example, a way of thinking about through the years. And this process now, I'm talking about it tonight, but I want to tell you, this is a 3 to 6 year process sometimes. So the lessons we're talking about tonight need to be saved and reviewed from time to time, to just so that as you're building your business through the years, you do that. What the takeaway here is, I want you to know now that I appreciate the fact that you're the chief problem solver. I'm teaching you to be the chief problem solver in your business. Though you need to know how to do that. But over the course of the next few years, I want you to take this knowledge you've got and consider that you want to change your mindset to not just being the chief problem solver, but to becoming the chief system builder, the chief way to delegate so other people can serve your customers, and then you can grow the business even more. So we're going to build a little pyramid here to talk about that. And just getting started to be number 1, just doing daily work. And number 2, managing better. Number 3, start getting into leadership and delegating. And then number 4 is architecting. So let's see how that works. So number 5, up at the very top of the list, what is the toughest part of doing this job? And that is getting your business over a period of time, over a period of years, to designing the business so it runs independently of you. Building a larger business with partnerships and have an exit strategy in place. That's your ultimate goal in transitioning. Everybody with me? Give me an amen if you are. How about something over in chat to let me know you're not asleep on me over there, okay? Your ultimate goal over a period of years is to have a business that runs itself independently, okay? That's the ultimate goal up at the top tier. Next, before you get there, we need to develop other people and set some long-term vision. Right now, we're just worried about getting started and surviving the next week, right? As a brand new startup business, I just want to survive. I know that's the case. I've been there. I've lived that. I've woke up at night not knowing if I'm going to make it till the next day or not. But indeed, I want you to know, when you are able to think about the long-term vision and having people in place, key managers and a team culture, a family culture, and everyone on that team is driving for company growth, then you got something to sell. You got something to be proud of. And then, yeah, you don't take a lot of pride in it, and you'll have your ego to feed by doing that. But when someone's coming along and wants to buy the business, that's what they want to see. They want to come in and lead a team. They don't want to come in and do 100% of the work. That's kind of the lesson we got here. Tier 2, next tier, is learning to be a better manager. Find out how to get more work done, to move business along better, to bring more services or sell more products. In other words, just streamline your business and up the ante on performance. Reviewing performance key indicators, that is, being able to look at your profit and loss statements and your daily or your monthly bookkeeping statements and recognize where bottlenecks are. Being the kind of manager that you can troubleshoot the bottlenecks. And then in my classes, in our core classes that we're working out on Monday nights now, got to be looking at bookkeeping, negotiating, and mainly forecasting to avoid those bottlenecks and enforcing your SOPs, your operations systems such as that. That's becoming a better manager. Right now, we're just learning how to get the business started, being a startup owner, and that's a big challenge, and I know that, and I'm working with you on it. But it's not going to be long. And as soon as you get up and steady, it's time to start thinking about these things we're doing now in becoming a better manager. So here we are today, which is the bottom base. That's where we are today. Doing the administrative, repetitive business, doing the hard work every day, all the tactical stuff that we're talking about doing. We're answering customer emails. We're putting out this marketing stuff. And David, I don't talk about David a little bit because I know in the last 6 or 8 months, this is where you are. You've been just full of energy, working as hard as you can, learning all that you can. So you're on this bottom line right now. You're doing. But it's not going to be long before all of us, as our businesses grow, need to move up this tier in this pyramid. But our ultimate goal, getting to the point in a few years of architecting our business to a point that it does really well, whether you're there or not, whether you've gone fishing or not, or whether you're on a worldwide cruise. That's the ultimate goal that we all can think about and shoot for. And you know what? If you don't think about it, it won't ever happen. If you don't do these things, it will never happen. Your business will keep going on, and you'll keep doing right here on Tier 1 what you're doing today. And you're making a living, maybe putting some savings in the bank, maybe buying some things you hadn't had before. Maybe you feel real good about yourself, and that's great. I want you to feel great about that. But I owe it to you now at 79 years old to tell you that someday, feeling great don't cut it when it's time to sell that business. And people aren't going to want to work 79 years as hard as you're working to get there. Therefore, you must think about transitioning and putting your business where you can someday move it forward. So after you move it forward, we're going to talk about Section 4, which is building value. How can I build more value into my business? Now, I'm not talking about what is your business worth, dollars and cents for every nickel, dime, and asset that you got. We'll talk about that next week. We'll talk about that in depth. But in general terms, over a long period of time, how can we build value into our operations? And we talked about that earlier. So what it is saying that my company is doing well today, and tomorrow a new owner is going to walk in here and take over my company, and guess what? It's still going to do well, whether I'm here or not. That is when you have an asset that is valuable to a potential buyer. So back to the graphic that we talked about. The first graphic is where we are today. Take a chance to look at this very carefully. It's really good because you will probably want to come back and look at this later on. This graphic will be in your video and you'll be able to save it and go forward. It talks about the different things we need to remind ourselves of. I would suggest to you that you do a screenshot. If you're on your computer, do a screenshot of this graphic and save it and put it on your monitor on your desktop. And every now and then take a look at it. Just look at the different factors because this covers a lot of ground. And I'll say to you right now, AI did this for me. I asked AI to create a graphic that showed how a foundation value flows in a business, and they did it for me. I think they did a great job. So I plan to save this graphic on my computer and remind myself pretty much every time I turn my computer on, I might open this up and take a look at it to remind myself on the daily things I need to be concerned about. Because the foundation is all here, it's the different systems. But here's why 80% of businesses don't sell. And if you're looking at this every now and then on your desktop, maybe you'll think about some things that have happened to you today or this week or this past month that really fit into this picture, and that'll help you change things that are happening. I hope it works for you. So when it's time for you to transition, I want you to have a good transition. So again, we need to think about shifting our decision making, day-to-day decision making, and how we do it. We need to think about the decisions we make so that we move from being an operator to an owner. That mindset is really important. Right now, if you're just getting your business started, you're just operating. Yeah, maybe you own a backhoe, maybe you own a big truck, maybe you own a computer, but owning it is not the key if you're having to sit in front of it or sit in the operator's seat and work yourself ragged just operating this piece of equipment the same way as if you're operating your business. I want you to be able to own your business and back off from it and look at the big picture and figure out how to make it be more valuable and be more productive. So how can I present that to you? Here's a way I think will work for you. Let's call it the hub and spoke danger. Think about a wheel. Think about an old wagon wheel. It's got a hub in it and spokes going out in different directions supporting that. This is another graphic that you might want to save and put on your computer. So making your business independent will help you not destroy its transferability. If it can be independent, it's a big deal. Buyers are looking for transferable value. If the goodwill with the person of the corporate entity, the business value will plummet. In other words, if you leave and the goodwill leaves and the customers don't particularly like anybody else that's left, the business is going to lose its value. So I learned that really the hard way as I was a single operator, so to speak, in a fairly large business with 4,500 certified regular customers. And the new buyers wanted to know, well, Steve, if you're gone, these customers, they've been doing business with you. Why do you think they want to be doing business with someone else when there's so many other competitors out there they may know? And that was a tough question. I want to tell you, it took me 6 years. It took me 6 years to build my customer relationships, to get them ready for the transition. And when the transition happened, we worked on it a whole year, a year and a half, in introducing my customer base to the new owners. There was a way to do it. And what we discovered, and we worked at it, and it worked hard. And everybody had to know that it's just not going to happen overnight. So there are ways to do this. And that's the good news for you. That's the good news that I can bring to you as that sole operator who scored 8 on the test. I can say to you that even if you didn't do well on the test, in time and with planning and figuring it out, you can build up the value in your company with a potential buyer. Has a lot to do with those raving fan customers that we talk about all the time. So let's look at this. Let's look at this wheel. Let's look at this spoke and see what that's all about. Look at it really close now, if you can. You are in the middle. You are the hub. The business is rolling around you and your energy and your ideas and your genius. But what are the spokes that keep that wheel rolling? What's supporting that proposition? Well, first of all, it's the strategy and the vision that you have that you're doing. And then it's your decision making, and then it's the clients that you've brought into the company. And after you've got the clients and you've proven that you can deliver service and you're dependable, you bring in people, you're a good team leader, you're doing a good job with your marketing and your branding, and your operations are working well, things are running smooth, no hiccups there, and you're developing product and adding profit centers. That's the ideal situation. That's what, as business people, this is what we do, right? This is our daily work. So here's the danger. If any one of these spokes has a problem in it, that each problem there devalues the amount of your business. So as owners, let me ask you and I together to say, well, maybe I need to have this little graphic pop up on my desktop every now and then to remind me how important it is to manage all of these different areas. And especially as we go through the years to get better at each one of those. And maybe from time to time, you might want to bring in a business coach or have someone just to look over what you're doing and give you some advice on maybe where some improvements can be made. Holy moly, are you saying that I don't know it all? That I should bring someone in to look over what I'm doing and maybe give me some advice? Yeah, that doesn't mean I don't think that you're a smart cookie, a brilliant lady that's doing everything right. I realize you've got a PhD. I realize you've got 25 years experience. I realize you know this business in and out. But still, it's not a bad idea to take this chart and talk with someone with general business experience and say, hey, where can I improve? What can I improve? Be willing to learn. Be willing to take those lessons. So you're at the center of the hub. You're the owner. You're the ultimate decision maker. Remember? Well, when you're the ultimate decision maker, you are the biggest bottleneck in selling your business. I was the biggest bottleneck in selling my business one time. So I know that that's true. And until that's resolved, your business value is going to go way, way down. You said we need to look at this and make it work. And then the spokes, the main 4 spokes are, here's what we're doing. How's your client experience? How are you doing when recruiting new customers? How's your operation? Is your workflow going well? Is cash flow doing well? Are you making decisions that's helping you move forward? Are you making the right decisions, connecting those dots to NDCP? Are you making changes to improve your risk management? And your team outlook, have you got good employees, good training, good culture, long-term experience? Those are the key factors that a buyer will be looking at. Every time. This is not debatable. This is just a fact that comes. So where do we go now? Remember, we're up to tier 3 now. We're building leadership and management. We need to think about cultivating leadership. Ultimately, if you're going to transition out of a business, either number one, the new owner needs to have the leadership ability and the general knowledge to run the business. Or number two, you need to have people in place that are already doing this so that the new owner can recognize that you've been cultivating leadership along the way. Who is the first person in your business that needs to have cultivated leadership and business skills? Me and you. That's right. Well, y'all have already proven you're attending the webinars and the seminars, and hopefully this stuff is sinking into you, because you need to know it yourself before you can show someone else how to do things. Or you need to bring in a coach or a teacher to teach these people how to do it for you so you can take advantage of their knowledge. Empowering the second in command, especially if you want employees to take over your business, or if you want family members to take over your business, or someone else that's special in your life to take over your business, they need to be trained. But my friends, let me give you a little caveat here on the personal side. Just because you want someone else, a particular individual, to be the inheritor of your business, doesn't mean that they want it. You can't just assume that someone else, someone special, wants to take over the business or the role that you have. Because I would say that 50% of the time, just because you want them to have it doesn't mean they really want it. Or they may want it bad enough to take it, but only with the intent to take it and own it and sell it as soon as they can and get out of it. Yeah. So we pick these people very carefully. You cultivate leadership, and during that cultivation period, you'll be able to tell how much dedication is there for the long-term legacy of and goodwill of the business, its customers, and its employees, or whether it's just a money grab. Don't go in here with blinders on. Be wide open and know that human nature is always going to be a factor. Sometimes we need to say, as we're cultivating that leadership and creating leaders, creating better management, we just don't need to be a taskmaster and telling people what to do. And in leadership, here's a factor that most people have never considered. Being a good leader is not just saying, I need for you to do this job. The better leader is the leader that says, here is the outcome we need to happen. You go make it happen. See the difference? You're not saying, you go move this pile of dirt over there. You need to say, at the end of the day, I need this landscape to look this way. And you make it happen. You're giving the people, you're empowering people to use their own minds and their own initiatives, their own motivations to do things. And when you do that, you've got to give them room to make mistakes. And then you got to be a willing, a good coach to help them along the way. But the main factor here I want you to hold on to is delegate outcome, not just task. As you're doing that, you're becoming a much better leader. So section 5 now is executing the exit. That is, we're thinking about now, I'm ready to move on. I've got someone that's ready to come in, or it's time for me to go, whatever the situation is. And my friends, this will happen one day. It will happen. There's no doubt about it. So let's talk about executing that exit. Think about it. First step is choosing your destination. How is this going to go about? And there's several different options that I just want you to be aware of. And that is, one, it might just be a third-party sales. That is, someone outside of the world right now comes into your world and takes over your business. Or number two, it might be employees that are working with you just buy the business from you. Or number three, it might be a family situation where a family member succeeds into the position of ownership. Or number three, it might be employee stock ownership situation. That is where some employees actually ante up the money to buy different shares or percentage of the stock, and for a while y'all run it together, and then eventually they end up buying all the stock. A lot of different ways, and there are even more than this. There's probably 15 or different scenarios where someone might transition in or out of a business. But these are indeed the most popular 4 different ways it goes on. Family succession versus third-party sales. Let's talk about that, because in my years of experience with friends, with fellow business associates and such as that, this is always the one that comes up most with the most amount of conversation and heat and friction sometimes. So in reality, if you run a family business, transition planning is an act of love. We're dealing with family members that we love. But if you don't have a clear plan, you're risking tearing the family apart, just tearing them apart over equity and leadership roles, especially several family members that want or are feeling jealous about the positions they may or may not have. If the next generation is taken over, they do need a clear and documented runway, not just a handoff during a crisis. Things are going great, and I have a heart attack, and I've got 3 sons and 2 daughters in the business. That's a crisis. Y'all figure it out. You're in the hospital getting ready to kick the bucket. Now, that's a mess. That is a mess. And just think about it right now with me. If you had done some planning, if you take these suggestions I'm offering to you tonight and start putting them into play, then I'll tell you there can be a smooth transition. And there may be some bumps in the road. There are always going to be some bumps in the road, but generally it can be a very smooth transition. I've experienced both. And a smooth transition is a whole lot better than a bumpy transition. Now, if you got some people that are going to end up with the business who really don't want the business, that's going to be an issue you need to think about now. Don't put them in a position to accept something they really don't want, because that's going to basically kill the business, hurt the morale of the employee, disappoint your customers, and it will fall apart like a snowball. It just won't work. So, in your retirement, and I want you to have a good retirement. I want you to treat your heirs fairly, but you can do that if you've got a good plan. No plan means a mess. No plan means a mess. So how will the buyers value your business? They'll value it a lot of different ways. Next week, we're going to talk about actually how to appraise your business, how to put a money value on the business as it stands today, and the many, many factors that come into play. You want to know this, and for several reasons. One, you want to know how to build assets in your own company, and if you don't appreciate the appraisal possibilities, you won't know. Number 2, maybe you're thinking about buying another business or merging with a business, or maybe just right now you want to start your own business and you'll consider buying some property or buying some existing businesses. Next week we'll talk about how to appraise that and start coming up with some numbers. But a buyer that's buying an existing business and wants to keep it running, he and she are doing one thing. It's a balancing act. They're going to balance the financial performance of your business versus the risk that they're taking. It gets real simple when you look at it that way. What's the money coming in look like? What are the risks coming in look like as well? And where do we end up there? And you as a seller, understanding this helps you present your business to a buyer in a whole lot more attractive way. What are the drivers of valuations? You want some financial records that prove the point where the assets are and where the growth is and where the cash flow is. And those financial records can get really muddled and messed up in average bookkeeping reports with all these different line items, charts of account that really go a long way to confuse everybody. The bookkeeping system and the accountants set up these financial records mainly to discourage tax payments, right? But the buyer wants to see the real facts. The buyer wants to see how the business can do. So your regular bookkeeping financial records may or may not serve a good purpose in showing to a potential buyer. But they will be looking for good, clean records that are understandable. That may take you 2 to 3 years. If your business has been in play for 10 years or more, it may take you 2 or 3 years to start making changes in your bookkeeping and financial reporting ways so that the business looks more attractive to a potential buyer. Number 2, buyers do not want to see that your company is all about working for one customer or selling one product. They want to see a lot of diversity in your business. And that's why I teach that in our core values seminars that we talk about. Being diverse in your profit centers is a big deal. If any one client owns or product owns more than 15% of your revenue, a buyer's going to be a little bit concerned, and they should be. Normal, clean finances, financial records, very important. We all manipulate our books in ways to be legal, but also to do as much tax avoidance as we can. That's perfectly legal, and we need to do it. But what we want to show to a potential buyer are the real numbers and the real reasons they should want to buy your business. And there's ways that you can do that. Many experts say that a business that's run by a competent management team commands a lot higher value than one that is being run by a single-handed founder. And that hits me right in the heart because I am that single-handed founder. But I know that I have to tell you that because as I've sold my businesses through the years, my single-handed founder mindset has really decreased the value of the businesses that I've sold. On several occasions when I had businesses that have long-term good managers in place, the businesses bought a whole lot more money. So think about that. That is a reason that you would want to take your businesses to the next step if you want to build a long-term increase in value of your company. If you want to have a meaningful, significantly large financial gain for your family members that you're leaving it to, or if you want to have a meaningful, large financial amount of money to help you move into your retirement years with a lot of security and a lot more fun, then that's the reason you want to consider this. Okay? But that is your determination, how much and how far you want to take it. But sooner or later, it's sooner than later, not sooner or later, but sooner than later, please go ahead and start thinking about this very seriously. Introduce partners, managers, bring people in as best you can, and then make sure they are meeting and understanding your customer needs and building a bigger business, a better business. Careful here. You want to pick these people carefully because you don't want them to come in now and steal your customers and your business from you as they start their own business. So you do this in such a way to let them know they're helping you grow your business so someday it will help them. All right? That's the seeds that you plant. So what's the timeline on this transition? What am I suggesting to you? I can tell you that if you've been in business for 1 year or you've been in business for 60 years, when you make the decision that, here's a date I want to transition out, you've got 12 to 36 months of work in front of you. This stuff we're talking about in an hour and a half takes years to put into place in a business. So there's a 3-step plan I'm suggesting to you. First of all, do the test that we did tonight. Do the independent audits. Do your self-test on how dependent is the company on you. Take a good look at your books. Maybe have a business coach like me or someone else look at it from the buyer's standpoint. We'll talk about that next week. How does your accounting books now, and how would they look to a buyer? And then look at the systems that you've got in your business, the profit centers, your customer flows, the way you're marketing, the way you're bringing in cash flow. How is that working? And how would it look to a buyer? Those are the main things. And to improve that outlook, it's not going to happen overnight. It'll take you several years to make that happen. But there's no negotiation about the financial systems. It's not negotiable. You have to have good records. So ask yourself, if you were buying a business, what documents and records would you want to see to ensure that you're not inheriting problems? Yourself, this is a big statement for you tonight. You want to ensure that you're not buying problems that you're going to have to solve and pay money for it. So be careful with that. Another cautionary thing here is when you're thinking about selling your business and you start talking to buyers, and we get more into this, but you don't want to give away important information about your intentions and your most valuable assets until you are certain you've got good non-disclosure agreements in place. You don't want potential buyers to walk away with your ideas that they may take and put in play on their own and use against you or in their own business. So take that extraordinary care to protect your secret items. Don't let your transition planning throw away the baby in the bathwater here. You want to hold on to your lenders and your vendors and your relationships with Raven Fan customers every way that you have to. That's the lifeblood of your business, the heartbeat of your business. So be careful not to be too free with information. So let's do a little transition test in here to see how it goes. We can do all this together now, okay? And what I'm going to do is ask you to go over to your chat board and pick out the right answer on these multiple choice questions. These are the takeaways. And then we'll talk about it. And then at the end of these series, we'll have a series quiz for us to have fun with. So question number one, everybody awake? Come on now, let's get into these quiz now. Here we go. What is the recommended timeline for a comprehensive business transition and exit roadmap? What is that timeline? Let's see some answers over here on the chat board. A, B, C, and D. All the answers are good answers. Some of them are more right than others, but we just covered this. Looks like most everybody got an A, and I got a couple of C's. What is that timeline you should at least plan, good planning to get ready to exit? And the answer is C. Probably at least 12 to 36 months is the best answer for that. So we got some good answers on that one. Number two. For a service provider, what is the primary operational hurdle when trying to sell your business? What's the biggest problem that someone that's providing services will have when they're trying to sell their business? A, excessive equipment depreciation, client concentration and expertise dependence, low profit margins, lack of family involvement. What do you think the best answer to that is? If you're a service provider, what's the toughest thing you're going to deal with when you're selling your business? And we got some folks that are saying C and some folks that are saying B. Well, B is the best answer. Client concentration and expertise. So if you're a service provider, that means you've got to have a good relationship and expert experience that the customers know that's going to still be there when you're gone. So, okay, number three. When looking at your owner's new mandate, remember that we talked about that? We talked about the pyramid. What is the ultimate highest level of operation of a founder? After years of planning and getting ready, when you finally get to the level that you're almost ready to exit, what level will you be at, and what's that called? Doing, managing, leading, or architecting? How about that? What do you think? A, B, C, or D? Jess is saying D. Anyone else got an opinion on that? Shannon saying B and then D. Right answer is D, architecting. At the end of the day, when you're ready, you have already achieved the doing, the managing, and the leading, and now it's time to get your business independent of you, so to speak, so a new buyer can come in and it will do well whether you're there or not. Number 4, in that hub and spoke that we talked about, why do potential third-party buyers often discount their evaluation of the business? What's the main reasons that people would discount, lower the value of your business? A, because you want too much money. B, because the business is entirely dependent on the owner and their personal relationships. C, because the business relies too much on one supplier. D, because the brand isn't well known. Well, all those factors indeed would lower the value of the company, but which one is most often the case when people are looking at it? What do you think about that? Well, it looks like most of you are saying B. Let's see what the book said. B is the right answer. If the whole business is dependent on the owner running that show, then the business value is going to go down. So Shannon, I see that you're active in this, and you know exactly what I'm talking about because indeed you ran your show and are running your show now. So all these factors come into play, and it's not easy to manage those. But I want to say again, even though these seem to be insurmountable issues for us, with planning and talking about it and figuring things out and looking at options, you can have a plan that helps improve the situation wherever you are. So that's the good news. Number 5, what challenge is most uniquely associated with family business owners when transition planning? What is that challenge? Identity of the size of the business, the client concentration problem, the legacy and relationship problems, or the pyramid? A, B, C, or D? What do y'all think? What would play in here? Okay, it looks like we got some people saying B and C. Let's see what we got. The best answer is C, and that's true. If it's a family situation and you're moving out of that family, different members of the family are taking over. The owners, the founders, you, the founder of your business, are going to be very interested in the legacy that you're leaving behind because the business legacy and your legacy are married. And as we move forward, we have to figure out a way to separate those so that you own and appreciate your own legacy, but the new owners can take the old legacy and move forward with it. In my last business sale, we were able to manage that part quite well. We didn't manage everything quite well, but this we managed real well. And the new owners are really enjoying the old legacy of the business, and it kept me on board to help keep it going forward and continue to introduce them to old and new customers. So C was the best answer. Number 6, when you're shifting from being the operator to an owner, what is the best immediate step to take with your senior staff? When you decide that you want to become the owner and not just the operator, how do you work that out with others? Tell them that you're in charge without any additional training. Tell them they are in charge. Document every decision, criteria, and empower them with sign-in authority. In other words, give them the authority to make decisions. Replace them with external executive, bring in new people. Require all invoices to cross your desk. So what's the best step to help move your position from operator to owner? Pretty tough question here. What's your answers? Looking over here, we got some C's, we got some B's. Any more? What do you think? Well, B is the best answer. Document every decision with criteria and empower them to sign authority. I think what the AI here is saying is you've got to delegate authority. Remember we said earlier, we want to give our staff instructions on what we want the outcome to be. We don't want to just say do this, this, and this, but we want to tell them what we want to outcome to be, and give them the authority to go for it. Doing this, we have to remember there'll be some mistakes, and we have to be there to do some coaching. When transitioning, when selling, when exiting the business, which option allows for the maximum amount of financial liquidity, money, or the founder upon exit? In which way that you might sell your business will you end up with the most money? That's the question. Which type of sale? Keeping the sale inside the family? Gifting equity to a junior partner? A third-party sale? Or do you just retain ownership indefinitely and just take what money you can from the business? Which one of those options will help you end up with the most money at one time? This is a big question. This is the question that most of us end up asking when we're getting ready to sell the business, right? So how about some answers here? We got a C, we got a B, we got another C. Thank y'all all for participating. Answer, C, a third-party sale. That is, someone's coming in, they're not after buying a piece of action, they just want to buy the business, pay you for it, you take the money and move on. You can't do that with a family sale. Usually you're going to end up with the least amount of money with a family sale, because love's going to be involved. Okay? So that's the decision you have to make. Number 8, final question. For first-time founders, and that's pretty much all of us here tonight, what is the psychological hurdle must they overcome during a transaction? The identity and scale problems separating from who they are from what the business is. The unwillingness to let family members participate. The inability to document processes. And the refusal to take a salary. What's the biggest hurdle you have to overcome when you transition? I know this to be true because I've experienced it. I'm glad to share it with you. What would you think? Got a lot of A's. Right answer is A. That is separating who I am from the business. And you have to turn loose at some point in time, and it's not easy to do. If you've built your business for years and years and years, or a lifetime of decades, and when people see you, they think of your business, they think of what you've accomplished in business. And when you're not there any longer, does that mean you're worthless? No. But you don't have to work on your mindset. And that's why it takes 3 to 6 years to get your mind in a condition where you feel good about your legacy and the company legacy being separate, and you've been able to hang on to both of them. Maybe what helped me get through this more than anything else is my teaching, is working with you guys. Because I know that I still am doing things that is important and helping people, and I can make a difference in my life and people's lives. I had a plan B. So on a side note, a personal note is, one of the ways to help get through this hurdle, this psychological hurdle, is have a plan B. Don't plan to sell your business or retire so you can go somewhere and wait to die. That's not a good plan, is it? Have a plan B so that when you're leaving the business, you're moving into a situation where you've got a plan, things that you're going to do, things you're going to accomplish, whether it's pursuing your bucket list, pursuing a new career, pursuing a dream. Have a plan B, and that really will make a major difference for you. You guys have been my lifesaver in this process. You have become my plan B, and it's actually worked out as a whole separate career of 19 years of teaching, and I never dreamed that I would be a teacher and a coach. But I've been able to accomplish that, and so I appreciate you guys being a part of this. So next week, 6 to 7:30, what is my business worth? What is the business I'm thinking about buying worth? What will my business be worth if I make some changes? You know all this if you have and own some appraising skills. Next week, we're going to jump right into that in a big way. So we've had an unusual class tonight. This is all new. First time I presented it, so there's a few places I had to stutter and remember what I wanted to say. I appreciate you hanging in there with me. Cynthia, you've been a dream. You've been a lifesaver. You've helped me, and I appreciate that. So thank you very much. Appreciate that so much. So there's a greatness in you, every one of you. You can achieve incredible things. Let's work together and bring your vision to life. Remember, alone, we can't do so much, but together there's no stopping us. So may God bless you and your family and your business. Thank you for being so attentive tonight. I hope I've given you some things that will make a super positive, major difference when you're ready to retire or transition or exit your business. So your comments will be welcome. Thank you so much. Send me any emails or requests that you have. Thank you, and God bless you. Turn your mics on and talk to me. You're mighty quiet tonight. Nobody got anything to say? All of you, Jessica and others, and Eric, that participated in the chat so well, thank you so much. All right, so as they say on Walton's Mountain, night, John boy.
Good night, everybody. Great class, Steve.
Thank you, Sarita. Appreciate you.